Here are the papers this Friday morning. Vanguard newspaper, hardship. Labour kicks as 20 states deny workers wage award. The writer says it's height of insensitivity. 15 states comply with Tinubu's plea. 6 pay briefly stop. Workers get wage rise. Palliatives in Lagos, Edo, Enugu, Osun, others. Rivers, Akwa Ibom wait for FG's official announcement. Delta set up committee. Beneath that lay story, minimum wage. We'll pay what we can afford, ascribed to Tinubu. From Vanguard to Nigerian Tribune, Labour will demand minimum wage arrears, NLC, TUC. And then the writer says, want FG to consult workers before submitting figure to NAS. That's how the paper reports the minimum wage matter today. Nigerian News Direct, Tinubu to receive draft bill proposing regional government system today. That's their own big lead. One of the lead riders, Afenifere Chieftain, unveils proposal for 8 region Nigeria interim boundaries. Coalition advocates new constitution in Nigeria's governance overhaul blueprint. Union proposes retaining 36 states as provinces with reduced powers. Okay, there you go. Who knows how that one will play out there today. Have a look at Daily Times. Clerk to Tinubu, correct injustices against Ndigbo. Release Nnamdi Kanu. Says it's time to restructure Nigeria. Implement 2014 National Conference report. Berates killing of security agents by civilians. And then on the, let's talk about The Guardian now. World Blood Donor Day. Risky black market booms as many shun voluntary donation. So they give some pictorial analysis of someone needing blood every 2 seconds. One donation can potentially save up to 3 lives. And then only about 25% of the country's blood needs are collected. So that's highlights of front page of The Guardian here today. Business Day, Customs to launch 24-hour operations to boost trade. FG to unveil marine and blue economy national policy. Daily Trust, Niger Governor, Deputy Speaker travel for Hajj. 3 killed as another mining site collapses, over 50 yet to be rescued from first incident. There's lack of empathy. So there's been some argument as to how they left the developments playing out in the States to travel for Hajj. So, but maybe you might get that perspective if you go into the Daily here today. The Nigerian Observer, rethink governance, restructure education for development, African leaders told. And then Blueprint. Your comment on troops wrong. DHQ tells Zamfara governor. Says we lost 9 personnel in 1 month. Soldiers neutralized terrorist kingpin Buhari Yadi, 232 others. So that's the front page of Blueprints today. And that is it. We'll look at some of the front pages this morning, guys.
I have one. I have to confess I'm a little lost because there are so many things that stand out to me, but I'm going to pick on 2, Kayla and Chamberlain. Let me begin with the Guardian newspaper. That story you mentioned, Chamberlain, about World Blood Donor Day is actually a little more serious than many of us are aware. For instance, it talks about the fact that voluntary donation is being shunned. Black market, black market. I mean, we should be very, very concerned. I happen to be saying this because I was part of a project, recently where I got a lot more education about the blood, the human blood, than that could ever have imagined. And did you know, for instance, that your blood can expire? That your blood actually does expire? Do you also know that when you donate blood, the shelf life of blood is very, very short? I mean, you just have to Google that to find out. You also know that when you donate blood, it's not just the whole blood that is used. It can actually be broken into 3 or 5 different places for different uses. And so when they talk about the reduction in the number of voluntary blood donors, it speaks a lot. Because those who donate blood for commercial purposes, they do it just for that purpose. But there are a number of benefits for people who donate blood voluntarily. Part of that voluntary blood donation is for the benefit of the person. For instance, I have been told by practitioners that when you donate blood, for instance, there is a high chance that you could reduce high blood pressure. Please find out from your medical practitioner and the people that you know. So let's get more education about that one. And by the way, it's 20 years since the World Blood Donor Day has been held. That's something that we should all take to the bank. But what stands out to me this morning is on the front page of the Daily Independent newspaper, which talks about 30 people dying from 1,141 cases of cholera as the disease has spread to 96 local government authorities in 30 states. Very, very troubling. I grew up in Lagos, particularly Lagos Island. No matter what you say about Lagos Island today, I have a history of knowing that there were local government environmental officers that went into people's houses, checked the water they drank from the pots they drank from. There were no fridges as when I was growing up in the 70s. So they had those. They got into your house, they saw anything in your water that you shouldn't be drinking, they broke the pot, they threw it away, and you had to get something else to drink with. Those days, I doubt if we had the kind of serious cholera outbreaks that we had now. Speaking to the issues around local government autonomy and the capacity of the local government administrations to do the needful, protect lives, protect health, primary health care, as well as prevent insecurity in their different locations. Well, there is so much to say there, but perhaps we should even start by talking about the fact that this 30 people dying perhaps could have been avoided if the local government authorities had enough autonomy, financially and administratively, to do the work that they are constitutionally authorized to do. That's my take this morning, guys.
In fact, you know, it was such an important thing when we were growing up. What they would do is, these environmental officers, anyway, I'll get to that in a bit, but what these environmental officers used to do was that they would come to a neighborhood. Yeah. They would go to a public toilet and then they would pour some kerosene into the toilet. And then they would leave it for a while. Any house where if you turn on the tap, the water starts to smell like kerosene, then they would know that there's a leak in the toilets. The toilets are leaking into the water that is being used, which is why people are falling sick. It used to be a thing back then. But for some reason, we just let it go. I spoke with an environmental officer many years ago. And he said, yes, we still exist. But something happened in our Ministry of Health. We moved away from preventive to curative. So what happens is we wait for a cholera outbreak to come out. Then we swing into action and start to treat the people who are sick. Meanwhile, there was a preventive bit that should have been done by environmental officers, and that has been ignored. And I think, in fact, at that point, he was even saying that it's because we started turning, every minister of health is a medical doctor. There's more than curing diseases. You have to be able to prevent them from even happening
it doesn't
in the
matter
first place.
If that shouldn't be a reason for them to deviate from preventive.
From preventive and moving into that. So it's a pretty disappointing situation. Yeah. And we hope that they change that. We hope that they get back to that way where we prevent things from happening as opposed to having to cure them when they do. But I wanted to be able to look at the Leadership Friday. Leadership Friday actually has a very interesting headline here. Amid failed regulation, British curriculum dominates private schools. Proprietors ignoring federal government guidelines, creating their own curriculum. Teachers, experts demand stricter monitoring, and Education Ministry keeps mum. What are the rules when it comes to curriculums for schools? Are we just doing anything that we want to do? Oh, at my school, the curriculum is a British curriculum. Is that allowed? Are we allowed to do that? And when we see these things happening, what's happening to our curriculum? Nigeria's curriculum, the one that we should make better, the one that we should work on, make it more robust so that it meets international standards. What's happening to that? This story, more on it from page 7 of Leadership Friday. And then this one from the New Telegraph. We can't win insecurity war without people's support. That's from the Defense Headquarters, more on pages 3, 6, and 26 of the New Telegraph. Of course, this is the Zamfara governor's situation that's coming up. Everyone is responding to those things that he has been saying recently. They're regretting that Zamfara has no internal security platform, decrying 16 security personnel killing in 13 days. You know, respect rules of engagement, the Chief of Army Staff tells the troops. And soldiers kill bandit leader Buhari Yadi, others terrorizing the northwest and Niger area. So more on that from pages 3, 6, and 26. But of course, everyone responding to those allegations made by the Zamfara state governor, very disappointing, and one that we will be following up on.
Well, a number of things stick out. Education is really important. And I think that was why I was reading a couple of days ago where the MBTE is saying that they're trying to make it compulsory that polytechnics, you've got to learn a technical skill before you graduate from any of those polytechnics. And so who knows, that may, I'm hoping that it's born out of some sort of research that they've done, what they want to achieve with that, so that they can measure it. This is what you measure that you can improve upon. So that's how one expects or will hope that they told that path. But this story about security in Zamfara, I think it's Blueprints, guys, that highlights that one this morning. So it is important, not just for Zamfara state, but across the country, different areas where we have this challenge of security situation or the other. Because, yes, Zamfara governors, the current one, they've had to grapple with some of these challenges over the years. So that's why you see that front page of Blueprint where he was talking about them responding to the governor. But I think the detail of what they said was whatever allegation that the governor had made, they were going to analyze that carefully, impartially. I think that's the word the authorities used there. So, but then Blueprint also did reports there this morning that some of the fortunate scenario of those of them who died there, I think we need to equally be visited. But we'll keep tabs on all of that because all the former governors and the current governor have to find a way to work together. Because when the military says we cannot win this war without the support of the people, it's crucial. It cannot be underestimated or overemphasized. So those are issues that we need to ensure happens moving forward. So that is a look at some of the dailies here this morning. We're back in a moment. Stay on with us.